we're living in, and we got to be ready to face whatever comes our way, right? Just like in 2 Maccabees chapter 7 with the mother and the 7 sons. I know we all know that story, right? All right, so when it comes down to that time, are you going to eat that bacon? If Esau come and say, you know, you got to eat this or you're going to die, what are you going to do? You know, we got to know what we're going to do, because there's going to be a lot of people with fingers on that's going to tuck them in, you know. You know, so we got a lot of people that's high-minded and they acting like they know everything about this Bible right now, but when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, we got to make sure that we're keeping these commandments at the end of the day. And we got to make sure that we're keeping our faith in the Most High God as well.
Khan. Hallelujah. All right, so let's get right into it. Let's go to, you know, with the story of Purim, you got to jump around between the Bible and the Apocrypha. So we're going to go to the Apocrypha, all right, and we're going to start with the rest of the books of Esther, all right, and the Apocrypha, the rest of the books of Esther, and we're going to go to where it says, place in the Greek before chapter 1 and 1 of the Hebrew. Page 55 in the Red Apocrypha. We're going to start there. All right. When everybody have it, say Khan. All right. Read that for me.
Sorry for chapter 11.
Yeah, not 11, where it says, place in the Greek before chapter 1 and 1 of the Hebrew. All right, yeah. Was verse 2. Verse 2, right? Yeah. Because chapter 11 you read afterwards. All right. Everybody got it, Khan? All right. So read that.
Khan, in the second year of the reign of Artaxerxes the Great.
Right. So this is Xerxes the first, like the brother said, like you see in the movie 300. Some of the scholars and historians try to say this is Xerxes the second, but most information said it's Xerxes the first. All right. Around the 5th century BC. I think he reigned from about 485 BC to maybe like 464 BC, something like that, in the latter part. All right, you look up Xerxes the first. Read on.
In the first day of the month, Nisan,
Mordecaius. That's Mordecai in the Greek, yeah.
Mordecaius, the son of Jairus, the son of Simi, the son of Sisai, of the tribe of Benjamin, had a dream.
Right, see that at different times, so that, you know, you can withdraw pride from the nation. You can say at different times, the Most High used different tribes. You got his number? Right? He used different tribes to deliver Israel. Okay? Right? So read on.
Who was a Jew and dwelt in the city of Susa.
He was in captivity under the Persian Empire, right? Go ahead.
A great man, being a servitor in the king's court.
Right. So, you know, he had a kind of a high position in the king's court. Just like now, you got Negroes that work in government, work in different positions. Some of them are sellouts. Some of them is just a job. Some of them try to use their position to help their people. Okay? Right? Go ahead.
He was also one of the captives which Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, carried from Jerusalem.
Come on.
With Jeconiah, king of Judah. And this was his dream.
Go ahead.
Behold, a noise of tumult with thunder and earthquakes, and uproar in the land.
Now remember, everybody remember this, this dream is very important. Because before the entire story of Purim happened, the Most High showed it to Mordecai in a dream. Before it even happened, he showed it to him in a dream. Go ahead.
And behold, two dragons came.
Two great dragons. Dragons also represents power in the scriptures, right? So two great dragons representing two great nations. That's what it symbolizes. The nation of Israel and then the nation of Edom. Right, Haman and Mordecai. Go ahead. Right, go ahead.
Two great dragons came forth ready to fight, and their cry was great.
Go ahead.
And at their cry, all nations were prepared to battle.
Come on.
That they might fight against the righteous people.
That might fight against who?
The righteous people.
Go ahead.
And lo, a day of darkness and obscurity, tribulation and anguish.
Because at this time, when we go into the story, you're going to see they was trying to exterminate the nation of Israel. Right? They was trying to take us out as a nation. And all throughout different times of history, what was it? It was to destroy Israel. If it wasn't to wipe us out, it was to at least control us as a nation, keep us contained. Remember in Egypt, it said we just kept multiplying. And the Egyptians said, what are we going to do about them? They're going to rise up and go with our enemies. We got to destroy them. They keep multiplying. Right? So it's the same thing all throughout history. Same thing Esau do now. We always bring it out. Why did they bring cocaine in the 70s? Even though it was kind of an expensive drug, what did they do? They said, listen, we're going to destroy the Negroes with this. We got it with the heroin. We tried the heroin in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and in the 70s too. Now we got to bring the cocaine. Wait a minute. Negroes can't afford cocaine. Right. So give them crack in the 80s. Gun? And they kept, without a shadow of a doubt, they kept trying to destroy us as a nation of people. So all throughout periods of history, they tried to exterminate Israel. Go ahead.
But a great uproar upon the earth, and the whole righteous nation was troubled.
And what?
And the whole righteous nation was troubled. We
were troubled because there was a decree put out to have our whole nation destroyed. Right? Come on.
Fearing their own evils, and were ready to perish.
Go ahead.
Then they cried unto God, and upon their cry, as it were from a little fountain.
Right, that little fountain is Esther, right? Go ahead.
Was made a great flood.
She was a little captive girl, but she became the queen, so she could be put in that position to deliver Israel. Go ahead.
Even much water.
Even what?
Even much water.
Go ahead.
The light and the sun rose up, and the lowly were exalted.
Come on.
And devoured the glory.
Right, because they prayed and fasted to the Most High, and he set up Esther and Mordecai to deliver Israel. Go ahead.
Now when Mordecai, who had seen this dream, and what God had determined to do, was awake, and he bare this dream in mind, and until night by all means was desirous to know it.
Right, he said he bare this dream in mind, and when it says tonight, meaning all day, he's like, damn, what this dream mean, man? He woke up and was like, damn, what this dream mean? All day it was troubling him, right? Until the next night, he was like, damn, what is this dream? But of course, the Most High gonna pan it out. Right? And why does the Most High do that? Why does the Most High show man things in dreams? There's a simple answer. Anybody? Why does the Most High show men things in dreams?
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Anybody? By a show of hands. Why does the Most High show men things through dreams? Sis? Yeah, give them prophecies of what to come. That's perfect. That's a good answer, true answer. He's outside. He's somewhere, but he's not saying where he at. And I can't. I'm on live, so I can't. Yeah, good. Yeah, look for him. Yeah, Salakia. Come on. You can take over reading. Yeah, Salakia. Anybody? That's you right, sis. But I'm looking for something else. To warn. Something else. Now I'm going to start some trouble. Give me a scripture to answer it. Why does the Most High show men things in dreams? Give me a scripture. There's a scripture that answers it. There is a scripture that answers it. Let me see who's thinking. Where my swordsmen at? Or swordswomen? All right, I'll just give it to y'all. Go to Job 33. Go to Job 33. Shalom, everybody on the live. Happy Purim. We'll be live on YouTube later also. All right, Job 33 and start at, y'all know what I want. Start at 12. Job 33 and 12. Oh, you got that, Jeremy? Yeah. All right, Salaki, when everybody have it, say Khan. All right, Job 33. Yeah, start at 12 to get to the point. Yeah, to make the point. Yeah. Everybody have it, say Khan. Why does the Most High, the sister's right, the brother was right, but it was something else specific I'm looking for in Scripture. Why does the Most High show men things in dreams? Sometimes way before they happen. This was way before, Shalom. This was way before this happened. Okay? And then the Most High had it play out. He had it play out through the story of Purim. Okay? All right. Read Job 33 and start at 12. Read that, King.
This is the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 12. Behold, in this thou art not just.
And this thou art not just. Now, you stay up. But Jeremy, get another chair and come on. Get another chair and come on my side. Or you know what? No, get another chair and go on the side. Stay on the side with Kazak. And Kazak, you just move your chair in a little bit. And Jeremy, move your chair in a little bit. This is a smaller table, but yeah, that's perfect. Okay, perfect. All right, Salakia, y'all. Everybody get situated. All right. We on Israel CP time. This building is like a maze, man. Right? Okay. The question was, why does the Most High show men things in dreams? And we're going to get it because the entire story of Purim was shown to Mordecai in a dream before it even happened. And this is why the Most High do that. Job 33 and 12.
Job 33 verse 12. Behold.
Right, Salakia, write in your notes the rest of the chapters of the book of Esther, placed in the Hebrew, chapter 1 and 1, verses 2 through 10. Is that 2 through 10? No, Salakia. 2 through 13. How many verses is that? Yeah, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right. No, 12. With Job 33:12, we're going to read down till about 17. Job 33 started at 12. We're going to read to 17. This links with the first part, the first opening part of the Purim story in the Apocrypha where Mordecai had the dream. Okay? Everybody with me? Okay? If we're moving too fast, let us know. All right? Job 33 and 12. Read.
Behold, in this thou art not just. I will answer thee that God is greater than men.
Right. Number one, the Most High showed men things in dreams to show that he's greater than you. To show that I'm going to show you something I'm going to do, but I'm going to put it in your mind way before I do it. While you're sleeping. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Why dost thou strive against him?
Why does any man strive against the Most High? Like when we out there teaching, well, why would the Lord do that? None of your business. Because he does what the hell he want to do. That's why. Okay? Right? Just go along with it. We read the scripture. That's it. God, sometimes you got to just teach like that. Because the gainsayers will have you there all day. Well, why this? Why that? Because thus saith the Lord. That's why. Right? He don't serve us. We serve him. He ain't got to answer to you. Right? Come on.
Why dost thou strive against him?
Why do you strive against the Most High? Come on.
For he giveth not account of any of his matters.
The Lord ain't got to explain nothing to you. Come on.
For God speaketh once.
For the Most High speaketh once. Come on.
Yea, twice.
Yet twice. Come on.
Yet man perceiveth it not.
Because sometimes the Most High give man warnings and let him, you give him a precursor and he still don't listen. He still don't get it. Right? Come on.
In a dream.
In a what?
In a dream.
What did the Lord show Mordecai?
A dream.
Come on.
In a vision of the night.
In a vision of the night. Come on.
When deep sleep falleth upon men.
While you sleeping. Come on.
And slumbers upon the bed.
And slumberings upon the bed. Come on.
Then he openeth the ears of men.
He openeth the ears of men. Come on.
And sealeth their instruction.
And he seals their instruction. Right? Come on.
That he may withdraw man from his purpose.
He may withdraw man from his purpose. Come on.
And hide pride from man.
And hide pride from man. So why does the Most High show men things in dreams? So he can show them he's in charge. It's not about what you think you're going to do. It's what I'm going to do and let happen. So he can withdraw pride from man. So he can show you while you were asleep, I showed you what I was going to do. Does everybody understand? So that's why he showed Mordecai what was going to happen. But Mordecai was confounded the whole day. What does that dream mean? But then after it played out in the end of the story, then Mordecai, he interprets the dream himself. He goes back to everything that happened and said, this is what that meant. So that's why the Lord show men things through dreams, so men cannot be proud and say, look, the Most High is in charge. Right, go back to the rest of the books of Esther and the Apocrypha and read that verse 12 again. And that placed in the Greek before the chapter 1 and 1 of the Hebrew. I guess the second part of chapter 11. But the way they got this thing is crazy. All right. When they translated the Apocrypha, they added from the Greek in the Septuagint and different writings, and You got to put the story together between the Bible and Apocrypha. So read that last verse, verse 12.
This is the edition of Esther, chapter 11, verse 12. Now when Mordecai, who had seen this dream, and what God had determined to do was awake, he bare this dream in mind, and until night, by all means, was delirious to know it.
Was desirous.
Desirous to know it.
Right, so everybody, that verse 12, you can just put Job 33, 12 through 17. Okay? All right, link that up. That links up. Okay, so now, let's go to Esther 1 and 1 in the Bible. So you got to read that. You got to go to that and take notes, y'all. Unless, you know, y'all probably already have it or you know how to put it together. But write it down in your notes so when you're reading the story, you know how to jump back and forth. Unless you know you already got it in your stories. Go to Esther 1 and 1 now. Like I said, we're not going to go over the whole story tonight for the sake of time. But we'll jump. Maybe we'll try to do half. And then I'll do half live tomorrow. I'll do half live tomorrow. Okay? All right, so go to Esther 1 and 1. It's a little tedious, but bear with us, right? We'll try to make it exciting as possible. But it's a tedious story. Khan? Right, Esther 1 and 1.
When everybody have it, say, Khan.
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 And if y'all been reading, then y'all should have been reading. Y'all should pretty much know the story. Khan? Right? You got to read and look up things on your own. But we just going to go over it together. Khan? Right, go ahead.
Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 107 provinces.
Right, so this was the Persians' time to rule. All right, you had the Babylonians, you had the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, then the Roman Empire. The four main kingdoms that Daniel saw. Even though there were kingdoms before that, you had the Assyrians, the Egyptians, but these were the four main kingdoms that Daniel saw in his vision, in his dream. So this was the second kingdom, the Persian kingdom. Good. Medo-Persian. Good.
That in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace,
good,
in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of provinces being before him. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty, many days, even 180 days.
How long is 180 days by show of hands? Don't yell out. That's
160?
No, yeah, it's 180 days. How long is that?
Half a year?
Half a year, which is, come on, say how we say it. 6 months. God. Nobody don't say no half a year. No, I'm just messing with you. But 180 days, that's 6 months, because a month is 30 days. God? All right, go ahead.
And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan, the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days, in the court of the garden of the king's palace.
Good.
Where were white, green, and blue hangings,
good,
fastened with cords of fine linen and purple, to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver, upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble.
Right, so he's showing off his riches. He's showing off his kingdom. Go ahead.
And they gave them drink in vessels of gold.
Go ahead.
The vessels being diverse one from another.
Different kinds of gold vessels to eat to drink out of. Go ahead.
And royal wine in abundance.
Go ahead.
According to the state of the king.
Right, the finest of wine. Right, go ahead.
And the drinking was according to the law.
What did the Lord say?
And the drinking was according to the law.
The drinking was according to the law in moderation. Go ahead.
None did compel. For the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure.
Go ahead.
Also, Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house which belonged to King Ahasuerus.
Go ahead.
On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Beztha, Harbana, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal to show the people. And the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look on.
So now he's showing off his woman. He's showing off his kingdom, his riches, his beds, his fine, drinking wine, the finest of wine, and gold vessels. Go ahead.
Khan. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him.
Right, so she rebelled. She said, I'm not coming nowhere. Khan? Right, and he's the king. Like, what? My wife is not listening to me? My queen is not listening to me? Right, go ahead.
Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner towards all that knew the law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshina, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsina, and Memucan, the seven princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face and which sat the first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti, according to the law, because she have not performed the commandment of the king of Ashur by the chamberlains? And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen had not done wrong to the king only, but also to the princes and to all the people that are in the provinces of the king of Ashur.
Why did they say that? Why did they say Vashti, she haven't only done evil to the king, she's done evil to to everybody in the provinces? Anybody by show of hands? Why did they say that? She not only did evil to the king, but she did evil to the princes and everybody in the different provinces. She basically did evil to the whole kingdom. What's your name,
Right.
Huh?
Right. Araya.
Araya, yeah. Brother Araya.
Setting the wrong example.
Say it again?
Setting the wrong example.
Exactly. She's setting the wrong example. If the king wife don't have to listen, none of the wives got to listen. God? So now there's disorder in every household. God? So you messing it up for the entire kingdom. You didn't just go against the king, you went against the whole kingdom. Because now the rest of the wives going to say, I ain't got to listen to my husband. So now there's disorder in the households. God? Right, good.
For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto
Right,
all
verse 17 going to answer it. Salakia, good.
For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women.
Good.
So that they shall despise their husbands.
They shall what?
They shall despise their husbands.
I ain't got to listen to you. The king wife don't listen to him. Who are you? And you ain't nowhere near the king. God? A little leaven if the whole lump.
Rebellion
right?
is witchcraft.
God, rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. God? Come here, Shama. Good.
So that they shall despise their husbands in
They
their
shall
eyes.
what?
Despise their husbands in their eyes.
They're not going to have to listen. Right, Khan? If the queen don't have to listen, none of us got to listen. Now there's chaos in all the households. Khan? Right, good.
When it shall be reported, the king of Ashur commanded Vashti, the queen, to be brought in before him, but she came not.
Go ahead.
Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath.
Right, it's going to arise too much contempt and wrath. There's going to be a lot of anger and hatred and malice in the kingdom. Right, go ahead.
If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes.
Go ahead.
That it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before the king of Ashur, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she.
Right, so now there's got to be a punishment. There's got to be some kind of punishment and discipline meted out to the so-called queen, right? Because now she's about to lose her position. Okay? Right, go ahead.
And when the king's decree was, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small.
Real quick, go to Genesis 3:16. Even though this is a Persian household and kingdom, this is the law of the Most High, okay? This is the standard law of all kingdoms and societies, really. All right, Esau is the devil, but even when he in the right spirit, his woman obeyed him. Go ahead. Right? That's just order. Right? Read that, King.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 16. Unto the woman he said.
Salaki, everybody got it? I still hear pages flipping. Genesis 3:16 to link up with Esther 1 and 20. Esther 1 and 20 with Genesis 3:16. Read that, King.
Genesis 3, verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
Go ahead.
And thy desire shall be to thy husband.
Come on.
And he shall rule over thee.
Right, that's from the beginning. Right? That's the way the Most High set it up from the beginning of time. Okay? So the Lord said, your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. Okay? So now we go back and go back to Esther 1 and 20.
Right?
Esther. So that was order. When you have any society cannot run without order. No society can run without order. Okay? That's why Israel, we all jacked up as a nation of people. Because there's no order amongst our nation. Okay? Everybody doing whatever they want. There's no respect. There's no order. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just running all over the place amok. So that's why we here. That's why we sitting here. Okay? This is serious, man. This ain't about just going out and bringing out a few precepts and yelling on the corner. Right? No, we doing the work. We raising a nation. Now, yelling on the corner is fun, but you know what I'm saying? I love going to camp. But we also got to build the nation. Okay? So that's why a nation can't function without order. That's why Esau is on the decline, because he's losing order. Right? What's his name? Murdoch getting convicted for killing his wife and son. Right? You turn around, every time you turn around, these Edomites. Jake too, but Esau, he's just killing his family. Right? Why? Because their kingdom is on the decline. Okay? And whenever your kingdom it loses order, that's when you're going to fall. If you study any ancient kingdoms, what happened before they fell, they started being disorder. Right? So go ahead.
Verse 21. Read 20 again. Read 20.
Yeah.
Start off at Esther 1 and 20.
Esther 1 and 20. So remember, Esther 1 and 20 with Genesis 3:16. Come on.
And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all of his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small.
Right, all the wives have to submit and give honor to their husbands. Go ahead.
And they say it pleased the king and the princes. And the king did according to the words of Memucan.
Go ahead.
For he sent letters to all the king's provinces, and to every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people.
Right, see that? So every man shall rule in his house. Okay? Start some trouble. Sisters, y'all understand that? Their room going to empty out. Y'all understand that, sisters? God, elder. Yeah, right, now. God, that's the way the Most High set it up, God. And you brothers, don't be tyrants in your home either, God. You know, be a man, be strong, be firm, but don't be a tyrant over your wife. Okay? Don't be a lion and frantic in your household. Okay? But you sisters got to submit. God, elder. Right? Chapter 2, verse 1. Right? Go ahead.
Esther chapter 2. After these things, when the wrath of King Artaxerxes was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done, and what was decreed against her.
Right. He remembered Vashti, his wife, and what was decreed against her. Right? Because they had to make a decree. They had to set a standard. They said this rebellion cannot be tolerated. They had to set a standard. Right? Go ahead.
Then said the king's servant that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king.
He said, you are no longer the king's wife. I'm going to get me another wife. Just to show everybody, you did an ultimate act of rebellion. I'm going to replace you. That's what kings can do. Okay? Right? Go ahead.
And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hegai the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so.
Come on.
Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite.
Right, so, a lot of times brothers say, well, Jew is short for Judah, but, the tribes is called Jew also sometimes. See, he's a Benjamite, but he's still being called a Jew. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Who have been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which have been carried away from Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Right, because remember the Persians, and they took down the Babylonians and absorbed their kingdom. So the captives in Babylon became the captives to the Medo-Persians. Okay? Right, go ahead.
And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
Right, so Mordecai was her uncle. He took his niece on because her parents, now like a lot of family members do, your parents might die, your aunt, your uncle, your grandmother, your older cousin, older brother, sister, they continue to raise you. Okay, so that's what Mordecai did. Go ahead.
So,
be a father to the fatherless. Go ahead.
So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens was gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Hegai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Hegai, keeper of the women.
Good.
And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for purification.
He said, look, you about to be with the king, you got to be purified. Good.
With such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it.
Right, see, there was something in Mordecai's spirit from the dream. So he said, listen, don't tell them that you're a Hebrew. All right, don't let them know that you're a Hebrew. Don't say that. Good. The spirit was working with Mordecai throughout. Like, what was this dream? Something gonna go down. So the Most High was showing him through the spirit to use certain strategies. Don't let them know that you're a Hebrew. Okay? Because you're going to be put in a place or a position where you're going to have to deliver the nation. Right? Go ahead.
And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the woman's house to know how Esther did and what she should become of her. Now when every maid turn was come to go into King Artaxerxes, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of women, for so were the days of their purification accomplished, to which 6 months were oils of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the woman. Then thus came every maiden unto the king, whosoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the woman unto the king's house. And the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women, to the custody of Shazaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubine. She came in unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name. Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go into the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women's appointed. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her. So Esther was taken unto King Artaxerxes into his house, royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebet, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight, more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head, and made her queen instead of Vashti's. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts, according to the state of the king. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Esther had not yet shown her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him.
Right, she was obedient to her uncle, right? She had respect unto him and was obedient. We need to bring that back into our nation, okay? If somebody in the spirit of the Most High, and Yahushua, a family member, especially a man, give you an order as a younger family member, you're supposed to obey that, okay? And show that same respect. There's a lot of folly in Israel, man. There's a lack of respect for eldership, right? We ain't got to go there, but you see some of the madness that's going on. There's just no respect within and without the nation. Even within the truth and without the truth. It's just a lack of respect for elders, man, and leaders of the nation. Right, Kai? So we got to bring that back, or the Most High going to make them examples and put fear in us to bring it back. Kai? Right? Have some respect, man. Let's keep some order, have some respect. Let's get this thing back together. It's just getting out of hand. And I can see, man, if certain members of our nation don't humble themselves, the Most High going to do it, and it's not going to be sweet. Okay? Right? So let's get that back as a nation. Come on.
Verse 21. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth, and sought to lay hand on the king Artaxerxes.
So there was a plot to assassinate Xerxes. All right, and when you check it out, when you go further into the story, I don't want to really give it away because you'll read it later on in the story, but, y'all probably read the story anyway. There was a plot by the Greeks, right? That wicked Esau. There was a plot to assassinate Xerxes so that the Greeks can come into power earlier. See, Esau's a greedy bastard. The Most already told him, you're going to rule after the Persians. He want the kingdom now. No. So he said if we could take out Xerxes, then the Greeks could come in and rule. So it was an assassination plot against Xerxes, which was the king at that time. Good.
And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen. And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name.
See, everything was strategized by the Most High. Just like Joseph was sold into Egypt, but later on what happened? When Joseph was sold into Egypt, he was utilized to help Israel once we came there. Okay? So the Lord strategized that. It looked like, oh, no, they sold. You remember Judah? Judah was like, no, don't kill him, sell him. Yeah. We can get some money for him. But Joseph went into Egypt so later on he could help his brethren. The Most High set that up. So sometimes things seem strange or they happen a certain way. The Most High's like, nah, I'm doing this to show my power. Just like we brought out with the dreams. Okay? Right, go ahead.
And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore, they were both hanged.
They were what?
They were both hanged.
Come on.
On a tree. And it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king.
Right, they was hung on trees. The assassination plot was found out, and it was hung on trees immediately. Right? And that's going to happen in any society. You try to assassinate the king, you're going to die. Okay? Right? Unless you, what's the guy that tried to kill Reagan? John Hinckley? Yeah, Hinckley, yeah. John Hinckley. Right? They just put him in a psych ward and said he's crazy. But they didn't kill him or do nothing to him because he was set up by the Bushes. He was a cousin of the Bushes. And they set him up to try to kill Reagan so Senior Bush can be president earlier. Right? And they said it was about a half an inch. If the bullet would have hit Reagan's heart, he would have been finished. Right? So they kind of protected John Hinckley because he was actually an MK Ultra mind control set up by the Bushes. Came out that he was a distant cousin of the Bushes, and Bush was trying to kill Reagan back then. All right, but Reagan survived it. Right? But whenever you have an assassination plot against a leader, most of the time, that it get found out, you dead. Okay? Right, look at all them times, man, when they try to kill Castro. A lot of times the CIA and the Mafia, they would send people into Cuba, and Castro would find out and they would be finished, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you was a Cuban that defected and they was trying to use you to get to Castro. Castro found out you was a body. Okay? And the CIA and the Mafia was trying to kill Castro because Castro kicked the Mafia out. They was trying to do all their casinos and everything. Castro kicked them out.
Trying to kill him over 100 times.
Right? They tried to kill Castro so many times. But they said Castro had so many houses and underground tunnels. The man would go in one house and you think he's sleeping there. He would go through a tunnel and be sleeping in a whole other house. So they would try to go to the house and kill him, and he wouldn't be there. He'd be with the underground tunnel, and he'd be 2 miles away in another house.
But he had that look like him.
Right, Con, he had body doubles, Con. Right, so you know, a lot of times though, the point be a lot of times when they try to kill Castro, he would catch on to it, and the men that they sent to kill him, they would be finished. Right, Castro was no joke, man. Okay, right. So read on.
Chapter 3. After these things, the king Artaxerxes promoted Haman, the son of Ham.
Oh no, go to the rest of the chapters of the book of Esther and the Apocrypha, chapter 12. And write this down, y'all, so y'all can know how to jump back and forth. The story got to jump back and forth because, you know, parts was added to it throughout history.
I got the order written down too.
Okay, kind. All right. You know, so you got to know how to jump back and forth in the Bible and Apocrypha to get the chronological order of the story. So read that. Chapter 12 goes after chapter 2, verse 23 in the Bible. Okay? So read that.
Chapter 12, editions of Esther. Everybody have it, say Khan. Khan. And Mordecaius, Salakia. Mordecaius took his rest in the court with Gabbatha and Thara, and 2 eunuchs of the king and keepers of the palace. And he heard their devices and searched out their purposes.
Right, they was talking too loud, man. Like, yo, you want to kill the king? Da-da-da. Mordecai was like, word? Right. These guys trying to kill the king. That's going to get us more favor when I tell them. Good.
And learned that they were about to lay hands upon Artaxerxes, the king. And so he certified the king of them. Then the king examined 2 eunuchs, and after they had confessed it, they were strangled. And the king made a record of these things, and Mordecaius also wrote thereof.
Right, so they were strangled or hung. Y'all seen that government official in Tennessee, right? That said he want to bring back hangings. Did y'all see that? Yeah. Right, and Jake was like, what did he just say? You know what I'm saying? But we're going to start seeing that in these last days. Esau going to start speaking boldly. The spirit going to start coming out of them. And a lot of our people going to be like, what did he say? And the Lord going to do that to show their true spirit. Now, we're going to see a whole lot of that before we get out here. Esau just going to start coming out. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, yeah, I would like to propose that we bring back hangings and lynchings. And check it out. What's the most heaviest thing about that thing if y'all examine that video? Esau said it so calmly. God, he said it so calmly and with a straight face. He said it real calm, but the Most High going to start doing that. Before we get up out of here, these devils, he's going to reveal so many spirits out of them. Is going to wake some of our people up because they hard-headed, but a lot of them are still going to be stubborn, and they're not going to see it. Because the Most High closed their eyes. The most important thing was that devil was calm. He said it so cool, calm, and collected. Right? And I believe, wasn't that like the last day of Black History Month? Or something like that? Right? It was towards the end, if not the first or 2 days of March, it was like the end of February. Right? He said, as Black History Month goes out, let's bring back lynchings and hangings.
The Missouri Bill 666 will take lynching of black men.
Missouri Bill, and this is Missouri. That one with that's the
666.
But that other one was Tennessee. So this is Missouri. So it's 2 different states. That other one was in Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? So we coming back to that, man. Right, so read on.
Verse 4. And the king made a record of these things, and Mordecaius also wrote thereof. So the king commanded Mordecaius to serve in the court, and for this he rewarded him.
Good.
Howbeit Aman, the son of Amadeus, the Agagite.
This is Haman, the Edomite, the Agagite, which comes out of Amalek, which is the descendant of Esau, of course, Genesis 36. Go ahead.
Who was in great honor with the king, sought to molest Mordecai and his people because of the 2 eunuchs of the king.
Right, so now, Haman is upset because Mordecai foiled the assassination plot. Because Haman, being an Edomite, a Greek, they wanted to take the kingdom from the Persians. So he said, if we could assassinate the king, remember, Haman was like second in command. So he's like, if we could assassinate the king, I can come into power. And then I could turn the kingdom over to the Greeks. So now he's mad at Mordecai, like, yo, this dude, he foiled my assassination plot. So now this is his first encounter with Mordecai, and he's angry as hell, like, damn, this dude messed up my plan. Because what Mordecai heard, he reported to, but it's all of the Most High. It's all how the Most High was planning. So now this is the first, this is the beginning of that hatred, which Haman already had hatred against Israel from Amalek, which we're going to read later on. But now he's like, on top of that, he foiled my assassination plot. You know how Esau get when you mess up his plans. Forget about it, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially a Negro. Oh, this Negro messed up my plans. An Israelite Negro, God. So you know how Esau gets. So now he's angry, so he's mad. So now the tension is going to start to build as we read the story. Go back to Esther 3:1 in the Bible.
Esther chapter 3. After these things, the king Artaxerxes promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite.
The Agagite. Good.
And avenged him, and set him seat above all the princes that were with him. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, Why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
So now he said, man, you done foiled my assassination plot. You don't want to bow down and reverence me. Right? He said, this dude got some nerve. This dude done messed up my plans. He don't want to bow to me. Don't you know I'm second in command under the king? Bow to me. And he got that arrogant Edomite spirit, so you know that adds on to it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Verse 6, And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Artaxerxes, even the people of Mordecai. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Artaxerxes, they cast pur, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month of Dar.
That's where we get the name of the feast day from, pure, which means lot. In the Hebrew is par, but we say par yum because it's plural. Kan? It means lot, fate, or destination. Kan? So they cast the lot, right, for the fate of Haman, because he's mad now. He's like, not only did he foil my assassination plot, now he won't bow down to me. Right? Come on.
And Haman said unto King Artaxerxes, There is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces.
Now you're going to start lying and getting the king to be evil against us. There's a certain people, right? Go ahead.
Among the people in all the provinces of the kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people.
Right, they're doing that to us now. What are we going to do about these black Hebrew Israelites?
Right.
Kern? What are we going to do about them? They even got the Kanye and Kyrie. Right. What are we going to do about them? Right, they wear them funny looking clothes. They preach on the street corner. Right, they teach hate. Kern? Same thing happening now. They was doing it back then.
They see the Northern Kingdom out there with us, and they still say we black Hebrew.
Right. Kern? Right? So the same thing was happening back then. Go ahead.
Neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
Right. It said, listen, man, these people, they're unprofitable to our well-being, our kingdom. You know, you should destroy them. So now, like Esau, being the devil that he is, he's being vindictive and saying, look, you know what? This dude Mordecai is getting on my nerves. Not only do I want to kill him, let's have all of his people destroyed. Let's write to the king and let's make a decree for all of them to be wiped out. Exterminated. Same thing they do to Jacob. Now, didn't they try to do it in Egypt? Right? Are they trying to do it in modern Egypt? Esau done tried everything to wipe us out as a people. And it still haven't worked. Okay? From crack to the rap music to the gangs, everything is still not working. So just straight up abortion, right? Food, the hospital system, the medical care system, right? And when you check it out, not only do they want to kill us off, they want population control. That's what them train derailments are about, right? They want to put them toxins and poisons in the air and the water to kill people off. Mainly our people, because a lot of times it happened in the worst neighborhoods. The poverty or the low-level neighborhoods where our people are dwelling. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Verse 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hand of those that have the charge of the business, to bring it into the king's treasury.
He said 10,000 talents of silver. I think when you convert that as something like $19 million. So he put a bounty on our head. Okay? He said, I'll pay 10,000 talents of silver to have them killed off. Good.
And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite.
The Agagite, come on.
The Jews' enemy.
The who?
The Jews' enemy.
Right, the Jews' enemy. But because, who's Agag? Let me see who's reading their scriptures. Who's Agag? Who's who's Agag a descendant of? It said that it said the enemy of the Jews. By show of hands, let me see. God,
Agag is an Amalekite.
prove it. Hold on, give him a second, sis. Give him a second. No, don't look it up. Don't look it up. And you don't know it off the top, no, don't look it up. Go to 1 Samuel 15. Go to 1 Samuel the 15th chapter. All right, don't look it up in a blue letter. Even though that's a study tool too. All right. Read that, Yakin. You got it?
Yeah, this is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 32.
All right, when everybody have it, say, Khan.
Then said Samuel, bring ye hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites.
The who?
The king of the Amalekites.
Right, and who are the Amalekites? Go to Genesis 36 now. Agag was the king of the Amalekites. He was an Amalekite. And read 1 Samuel 15 and 3. Research 1 Samuel 15 and 3 also. Real quick. Yeah. Read 1 Samuel 15 and 3. Read that.
1 Samuel 15 verse 3. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have.
What did the Lord say?
Go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have.
See, this when the Lord rejected Saul as king because he was rebellious. The Lord said, wipe them out. But he left Agag alive. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Khan. But slay both man and woman. Salaki, and spare them not. But slay both man and women. Infant and suckling.
Moses said kill everybody. Good.
Ox and sheep.
He said kill a cattle too. Come on.
Camel and ass.
Jump down to 6.
Verse 6. And Saul said unto the Kenites, go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt.
Good.
So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites.
Good.
And Saul smote the Amalekites from Avila until thou comest to Shur.
Come on.
That is over against Egypt.
Good.
And he took Agag.
So from Havilah, which is around the Saudi Arabia region, all the way to almost to Egypt. Good.
And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive.
Who was Agag? The king of the Amalekites. Good.
And utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword.
So Agag was an Amalekite. Kind? Right, go to Genesis 36 now. Go to Genesis 36 and 1. When everybody have it, say Khan. Genesis 36 and 1. Read that.
The book of Genesis, chapter 36, verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom.
Who is who?
Edom.
Who is Edom, right? Jump down to 8.
Verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom.
Good.
And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir.
Jump down to 12.
And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. And she bare to Eliphaz Amalek.
Who?
Amalek.
Amalek. Come on.
These were the sons of Ada, Esau's wife.
So Esau had a descendant named Amalek. Kind? So who was Agag? An Amalekite. Who was Amalek? A descendant of Esau, an Edomite. So who is Haman? An Edomite. Kind? Right, so that's how you link that up. Go back to Esther. So this is the devil, man. This ain't nothing but Genesis 25 playing out. Esau and Jacob having that struggle from the womb. It's just playing out in the Persian Empire now. Kind? Right, before we go back to Esther, go to Deuteronomy 25. Go to Deuteronomy 25 and start at, I believe it's 17.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 25, verse 17.
Hold on, Salakia, before you get that one, go to the one in Exodus. Exodus 17:16. Just get right to the point. Y'all can read the whole chapter on your own and see what the beef was with Amalek. Exodus 17:16. Read that real quick.
The book of Exodus, chapter 17, verse 16. For he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation.
Right, the Lord said he would have a war with Amalek from generation to generation. What is it coming down to now? Right, anti-Semitism. Kind? They're trying to label Israel. They're trying to label us with anti-Semitism. That's what this whole thing is about. Kind? Is that same war with Amalek from generation to generation. Esau and Jacob, but it's just Amalek now. So-called Jews, the false so-called Jews against the real 12 tribes of Israel. Same thing. War with Amalek from generation to generation. Now go to Deuteronomy 25.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 25, verse 17. When everybody have it, say, Khan. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when ye were come forth out of Egypt. How he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee.
Right, the weak ones that was behind us. Right, Amalek came in the back and smote the hindmost of us. Right, come on.
Even all that were feeble behind thee.
Go ahead.
When thou was faint and weary, and he feared not God.
And that's a weak punk move by Esau, man. You're going to get the weak and feeble ones. Go after the strong ones like David. Okay? You ain't going to do that. Go ahead. David would have chopped your damn head off. Right? Go ahead.
Therefore it shall be, when the Lord thy God hath given thee rest from all thy enemies round about, in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven, thou shalt not forget it.
So that's what the Lord was telling. The Lord was telling Saul to do right here what Moses said. He said, you're supposed to blot out the name of Amalek from under heaven. But he left Agag alive. And then Haman, like, there's a movie, I always talk about it each year, Purim, One Night with the King. Anybody familiar with that movie? You know, they make these biblical movies. They put Esau in them. It's the story of Esther, right? And in the movie, it shows you, it tells you that when Agag was still alive, and he left Agag alive, that seed line they kept in their mind and remembered what Israel did to them. So now later on in history, when we come to the time of Esther, Haman, he knows that Mordecai is a Jew. So he's like, we got beef with the Israelites from way generations ago anyway. God? So that was seething in his spirit also. Not only did he stop my assassination plot, he wouldn't bow down to me. He's of those people that we have beef with 500 years anyway. God? And what? It goes back to Esau and Jacob in the womb. Right? If it be so, why am I thus? Why is this struggle going on in our womb? Because we would never get along with the so-called white man. I don't care how much you try. I don't care about these alternative Israelite groups. You guys teach hate. The God of Israel don't teach no hate. We got to accept all nations. Yeah, we accept them in our cotton field. Right? We accept We accept them all right. Right? We accept them in our cotton field. That's what we accept them. Right? Right? So we would never, right? When you look at it spiritually, right? Even if I wasn't in the truth, the way I think, I'll be like, I know damn, I'll be like, them brothers is right. I know we don't get along with these white people. That's right, brother. Shalom. Bring it out. You know what I'm saying? Give me a garment, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because my spirit, I would agree with the truth even if I wasn't in it. Okay? Because it just makes sense. Okay? We would never, when you check it out, we would never. That's why the so-called white man sits there casually and say, we need to bring back hangings. And you know what he mean. We need to bring back hanging niggas. But that's what he mean. Even though, you know, they used to hang Edomites back when they did crimes too. But hanging was, what they call it? Capital punishment. That was a form of capital punishment. But they really hung us on the trees. That became a curse on us, like the scriptures say. Okay? Right? So it's not happening. It's not happening. Though hand joined in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Okay? And the Lord said right here, we would always have beef with Amalek. All right, so that's why throughout history, when you come up to now to Esther, is in Haman's spirit that conflict with Israel from generations before. Okay? So that's adding to the hatred that's already there. Go back to Esther 3, where we left off at. Esther 3 and 8 again. Does everybody understand? All right, go back to Esther 3 and 8, where we left off at.
Esther chapter 3, verse 8.
Bring that out.
And Haman said unto King Artaxerxes, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed amongst the people in all the provinces of the kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people, neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
Good.
If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasury. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy.
The who?
The Jews' enemy.
The Jews' enemy. So we went back to Deuteronomy 25:17, Exodus 17:16, back to Esau, and we showed Amalek and the beef that we would have with Amalek all throughout history. And then you go to Genesis 25, Esau and Jacob was not meant to get along from the womb. Okay? And we show Amalek is an Edomite. Esau. Right? So go ahead.
And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee.
Right, so he said, go ahead and pay the ransom for them. Go ahead and pay for them to be destroyed. Go ahead.
Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month. And there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenant and to the governors that were over every province. and to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writings thereof, and to every people after their language. In the name of King Artaxerxes was it written, and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces, to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is called Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
All right, hold that. Go back to 1 Samuel. Everybody go back to 1 Samuel 15. All right, Esther 3:13. And we're going to link that with 1 Samuel 15. And back to that verse that we read.
32.
No, not 32. 3. 1 Samuel 15 and 3. With Esther 3:13. Read 1 Samuel 15 and 3 again.
1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 3. Everybody have it, say come. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
Now go back to Esther 3:13. Read 3:13 again.
This is Esther chapter 3, verse 13. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces, to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women.
Right, don't it sound similar to what Saul was told to do to the Amalekites? Haman being a descendant of the Amalekites, and in his spirit, remembering that it was a decree to wipe out Amalek, he just reversed it so Israel could be wiped out. Okay? It's the same thing, just in reverse. Go ahead.
In one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
Now go to the rest of the chapters of the book of Esther, the editions of Esther, in the Apocrypha chapter 13, where it says place in the Greek after chapter 3:13 of the Hebrew. So we're going to pick up from there. So this is what the letter, it's going to go into detail of what the letter said about Israel being wiped out by all the different nations and the different provinces of the Persian king. Okay? So see, this is all spiritual. That's that war with Amalek from generation to generation. Haman said, all I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it around what Saul was told to do to my ancient ancestors. I'm going to switch it around on y'all. Wipe out y'all children, y'all women, y'all young, y'all old, y'all cattle. Same thing that Saul was supposed to do to us. All right, go ahead, brother.
Khan, the book of additions to Esther, chapter 13. The copy of the letters was this: the great king Artaxerxes writeth these things to the princes and governors that are under him from India unto Ethiopia, in 127 provinces. After that I became Lord over many nations, and had dominion over the whole world. Now lifted up with presumption of my authority, but carrying myself always with equity and mildness, I propose to settle my subjects continually in a quiet life, and making my kingdom peaceable, and open for passage to the utmost coast, to renew peace, which is desired of all men.
Right, you say, to renew peace, which is desired of all men, but as long as you're in power. Go ahead.
Now, when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass, a man that excelled in wisdom among us, and was approved for his constant good will and steadfast fidelity, and had the honor of the second place in the kingdom, declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there were scattered certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations.
So who is he talking about? Don't yell out by show of hands. Who is he talking about in this letter, Yakin?
Talking about Israel.
Israel, God. Right now, notice what? Notice. what this devil is saying. He said, in all nations, there's a scattered, malicious people. Wherever these Israelites are, they're evil. You see what this devil is doing? We got to wipe them out everywhere they at. Right? Go ahead.
And continually despise the commandments of kings.
What the Japanese say, if you want to get rid of the problem in America, get rid of the Negroes. Right? Because what? All nations hate us wherever we at. Right? Deuteronomy 28. Right? Y'all know we got to go back to the basics. Cursed shalt thou be in the city. Cursed shalt thou be in the field. Anywhere in the world. Right? Go ahead.
And continually despise the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdoms honorably intended by us cannot go forward.
Go ahead.
Seeing then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men.
Go ahead.
Differing in the strange manner of their laws.
Now see, he's lying, man, because even when you read about the Maccabees, all Israel ever wanted to do was keep the commandments and serve the Most High. When you read about the Feast of Dedication, when you read about Nicanor, well, what we went over last night, all Israel wanted to do was serve the Most High. Right? We didn't really want to cause no problem with the nations. We just want to serve the Most High and worship Him. But now this devil is lying and saying we against the kingdom and we want to overthrow it in our malicious laws. Right? Go ahead.
And evil affected to our state, working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established.
So he said, listen, you want your kingdom to be at peace? Exterminate them Jews. Exterminate them Israelites. This is what the devil, right? We need to bring back lynchings in America. Yeah, we need to lynch Negroes to get rid of them. Right, go ahead.
Therefore have we commanded that all they that are signified in writing unto you by a man, who is ordained over the affairs and is next unto us, shall all with their wives and children be utterly destroyed by the sword of their enemies.
Right, so it said with their wives and children be utterly destroyed by their enemies. So y'all can also put down the rest of the books, or the addition of the books of Esther, chapter 13, verse 6, with 1 Samuel 15 and 3 also. Because the same thing that Saul was told to do to them, Haman is trying to reverse it back on us. Let them all, with their children, wives, their cattle, everything be wiped out. Okay? So y'all can add Esther, editions of Esther 13 and 6 with 1 Samuel 15 and 3 also. Read on.
Shalakia. Therefore have we commanded that all they that are signified in writing unto you by a man, who is ordained over the affairs and is next unto us, shall all with their wives and children be utterly destroyed by the sword of their enemies, without all mercy and pity, the 14th day of the 12th month Adar of this present year, that they who of old and now also are malicious may one day with violence go into the grave, and so ever hereafter cause our affairs to be well settled and without trouble.
See the devil, man, he said, let all of them go to the grave in one day. Right? Or just kill them all. That's the purge. Okay? That's the purge back then, right? When I was watching a few weeks ago, I was watching the first purge, the one that they did based upon Staten Island in New York. And note, when you notice in the movie, they said the people are not participating enough. So what? They went and got all the white supremacists, the mercenaries, the KKK, and all the groups, and they start coming on Staten Island and killing off all the blacks and Latinos in the projects. Okay? Same thing back then. That was the purge back then. Said kill them all off at once. And that's what Esau really want. A night where we can just, it's Hollywood, so they got to dress it up. But it's really a night where we can just go out and kill all these. We can kill off the 12 tribes of Israel. And when you watch the first purge, it was Judah and Ephraim. When you look on in Staten Island on the projects, they had Judah and they had certain parts that was playing Ephraim. Okay? So same thing, northern and southern kingdom. All with one day, let them be wiped out. That's the purge back then. That's Esau with the purge during the time of Esther. Okay? Right, so read on. Oh, that's it on that. Go back, go to chapter 4 and 1 in the Bible. So I know it's, it might be a little complicated jumping back and forth, but you got to write your notes down. And if you study it and read it, you can figure it out because it tells you where to go. Okay? Esther 4:1 now in the Bible.
Esther chapter 4. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth of ashes and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and bitter cry.
Right, he was in mourning for his people. He said, there's an actual decree to have us wiped out as a nation. Right, go ahead.
And came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth.
Come on.
And in every province, whichsoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting and weeping and wailing, and many laid in sackcloth and ashes.
Right, they were pleading to the Most High that, Lord, intervene and do something so we don't be exterminated as a people. Go ahead.
So Esther's maid and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen extremely grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai, and to take away his sackcloth from him. But he perceived it not. Then called Esther for H.O.I, one of the king's chamberlain, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was, and why it was. So H.O.I went forth to Mordecai unto the streets of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasury for the Jews to destroy them. And he gave him the copy of the writing.
Also he gave him
the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king, to make supplications unto him, and to make requests before him from her, for her people. And H.O.I came and told Esther the words of Mordecai.
Well, so Mordecai said, man, look, you gotta take advantage of your position and talk to the king to get this decree reversed of having us wiped out entirely as a people. Right? Go ahead.
And Esther spake unto H.O.I and gave him commandments unto Mordecai. All the king's servant and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king in the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death.
Right, so you had to be summoned by the king to come before him. You just couldn't come without being summoned, right? Go ahead.
Except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter.
Unless the king gave you a pass, all right, give him a pass. No, him, I ain't telling him to come up here, kill him, behead him. Right, go ahead.
That he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days.
Go ahead.
And it told to Mordecai Esther's word. The Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house, more than all the Jews.
So he said, look, just because you up there in the king's house, though, you still an Israelite. The decree is to have all Israelites killed. Like a lot of times our people, they get up in these different positions and think that's going to save them. No. Right? Esau still turn on you. Okay? Right? Go ahead.
For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time,
if you don't say nothing to the king and try to get this reversed, go ahead.
Then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
So now what is Mordecai saying right here? Let me see who's thinking. Don't yell out. He said, if you don't say something to the king on our behalf, then deliverance is going to rise up from another place. What is Mordecai saying? Anybody? By show of hands. Rob Judah?
A rebellion? Could be a rebellion against the king?
No.
The kingdom?
What is Mordecai saying here? Sis?
Like, even if he doesn't use her, he'll still make it happen.
Con. Because listen, he's saying whether the Most High use you and you don't do it, he can use anybody to deliver his people. Con? That's how spiritual he was. He said, look, if you don't do it, you should do it. But if you don't do it, the Most High going to bring deliverance another way. Okay? Good answer, sis, right? So we know we serve a power that if you ain't going to do it, he's going to make somebody do it. He's going to have somebody do it. Okay? Like a lot of times we get on brothers and sisters about being in this work. All right, if you don't do it, the Most High going to raise up somebody in your place. Okay? Right, you know, brothers, these brothers, they get mad, they get angry, they don't get their way in the camp. So they curse the camp out and leave. And they think the camp going to fall apart because they not there. Okay? And then the Most High bring two new brothers, when we call them prospects or whatever. He bring two new brothers. Hey, brother, I want to join the camp. You know what I'm saying? It's the work going, because this is not of man. And they get mad when we say that. You know what I'm saying? Right? No, it's of the Most High. If we go to hell off, Most High, forbid, he going to replace us. Okay? This thing going to go on because it's his program. It's not our program. So if you're not going to do it, the Most High going to put somebody in that lot. What did Yahweh say in Revelation? I remove your candlestick. But somebody else going to be putting that candlestick. They're going to take that place. I remove you like that. So the Most High don't need us. We need him. Okay? So he told her, if you don't step up and do it, the Most High going to bring deliverance from somebody else. Okay? Right? By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. All right, read on.
But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed.
Salakia, what verse we in?
14.
14, Khan, read on.
And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
Right, so what is he saying right there? I quoted it earlier. I'll give you a hint. I quoted another story earlier that was similar. He says, who knows if you came here for a time such as this? Anybody? Don't yell out. Sis again.
She was placed there for a reason.
Good. Well, didn't we talk about Joseph earlier? Joseph was sold. He was placed into Egypt by greedy Judah, wanting to sell him. Judah just wanted to get some money, right? But he was placed there to show favor to his brothers later on when they came there. Okay? So Esther was put in that position. Vashti rebelled. Xerxes looked for another queen, another woman to replace her. She was placed there. This is all playing out. Why? Because the Most High showed it to Mordecai in a dream. Okay? So what? We read it in Job earlier, to draw a man away from his purpose. For the Most High to show I'm in complete control. Okay? Right, good.
Verse 15. Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day.
Right, and that's a proper fast. Total abstaining from food and drink. Okay? That's a proper fast. Now, you might have your other type fast. That's between liquid fast, meat fast. I ain't eat no meat for a month. I'm going vegan. Alcohol, I ain't drinking for a month. Whatever. But a complete true fast is what they call a dry fast. Complete. If you're going to do a day, sundown to sundown, 3 days, whatever. Notice it said 3 days and 3 nights. That's a proper fast. Okay? Right, good.
And fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise. And so will I go in unto the king.
Okay, God.
Which is not according to the law.
Good.
And if I perish, I perish.
She said, look, after this fast, and we're going to send up prayers to the Most High, I'm going to just go ahead unto the king. I'm going to just go on faith, and the Most High will answer the prayer, and I'm able to speak to the king, or if I perish, I perish. So what was Esther willing to do? She was willing to risk her life, right, for the deliverance of her people. Okay? Go to Romans 12 and 1. Go to Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. These Negroes, they wouldn't risk their life for nothing. For two of their people. Okay? That's on their whole nation, right? But they'll risk their life for folly. They'll risk their life to be against their own brother with these so-called beefs, right? But they wouldn't risk their life for righteousness, for the deliverance of their nation. Go to Romans 12 and 1. When everybody have it, say, Khan.
The book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, That ye present your bodies a living sacrifice.
What the Lord say?
That you present your bodies a living sacrifice.
See, Esther was willing to present her body as a living sacrifice to go in unto the king. Right? And then she would have been dead. She would have been a sacrifice. Right? If the Most High didn't intervene. But she was willing to go. She said, we're going to fast and I'm going to go before the king to try to stop this decree of my people being purged. Right? Go ahead.
Holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service.
And us brothers being on the front line, our living sacrifice is doing this work. On the front line, getting out there, you know, that's the front line, getting out there and bringing in the masses. Right? Protecting the women and the children, teaching them, leading by example, being example to other brothers, being examples to each other. That's our living sacrifice. You're, as a man in this nation, your main living sacrifice is doing this work and building your nation. You are the men and you was charged with that job. That's your living sacrifice. Okay? Right, go ahead.
And be not conformed to this world.
And don't be conformed to this world. Right? You want to go back into that world, good luck. Okay? Ain't nothing out there but pure folly and evil. Pure folly and evil, man. That's all that's out there. Right? Go ahead.
But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
What the Lord say?
But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yeah, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Right? You become that new creature in H.O.I. Okay? Right, go ahead.
That ye may prove what is that good.
What is that good? Go ahead.
And acceptable.
And acceptable. Go ahead.
And perfect will of God.
Right, perfect will of the Most High. What is the will of the Most High? To do his laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Don't be conformed to this world. Ain't nothing out there but pure madness, man. Madness. It wasn't nothing out there before, but it's waxing worse and worse. Right? It tell you in Apocrypha, the world has now lost its youth. As the world gets older, it gets worse. It gets evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. Right? Everything is just getting worse, man. Right, so here's the place you want to be, right? Under the protection of the Most High Yahweh and the angels. Okay? Right? No, that's it on that. Romans 12, 1 and 2. Go back to Esther 4 and 17 now.
Esther 4, chapter 4, verse 17. So Mordecai.
Write that. That's the precept. Esther 4:16. With Romans 12, 1 and 2. Okay? Because she said, look, I'm going to go in, and if I perish, I perish. She was willing to present her body as that living sacrifice. Although she might have ended up as an actual sacrifice being dead. Right? But she was willing to go and present herself before the king. Good. Esther 4:17 now.
So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him.
Right, so she went and said, look, I'm going to listen to my uncle and I'm going to go in and intervene for my people. All right, go to, we almost home, y'all. We're going to do half the story tonight. So we almost home. Go to the Apocrypha, rest of the books of Esther, placed in the Greek after chapter 4:17 of the Hebrew. All right, when everybody have it, say Khan.
Khan. The book of the editions of Esther. Chapter 13, verse 8.
Khan.
Then Mordecai, though thought upon all the works of the Lord, and made his prayer unto him, saying, O Lord, the King Almighty, for the whole world is in thy power.
And listen, you brothers and sisters, when you run across these different prayers in the scriptures, you can say them also. Because these was prayers that our forefathers said. Like, for example, like on the Day of Atonement, a lot of times brothers will say the prayer of Manasseh, God, because you asking for forgiveness of the multitude of your sins for the year, right? During the Feast of Dedication, Second Maccabees, the first chapter, they have the prayer of the Maccabees. You can say that, right? So there's different prayers throughout the scriptures. You can say those prayers also, right? Go ahead.
And if thou hast appointed to save Israel, there is no man that can gainsay thee.
Right. So Mordecai, he's talking to the Most High now. the same thing he said to Esther. He said, if you don't do it, the Most High going to do it. And he said, Lord, if you appointed to save Israel, no man could gainsay that. You going to save Israel. Okay? Right? Mordecai was in the spirit. That's what the Most High used him technically to deliver Israel. Even though Esther was the sub-vessel, but it was really Mordecai. It was really that spirit of Mordecai that delivered Israel. Because he guided her and he told her what to do. The spirit came to him to tell her what to do. Okay? Right, go ahead.
For thou hast made heaven and earth, and all thy wondrous things under the heaven.
Go ahead.
Thou art Lord of all things, and there is no man that could resist thee, which art the Lord. Thou knowest all things, and thou knowest, Lord, that it was neither in contempt nor pride.
See, Mordecai, he want the Most High to hear him too, so he laid it on. He said, Lord, you are almighty, you are powerful, nobody can come against you. He want them prayers to be heard. Right? Go ahead.
Nor for any desire of glory, that I did not bow down to proud Haman.
So now Mordecai is even pleading to the Most High and saying, Lord, I did not bow down to Haman out of pride because I was puffed up. He said, no, I serve you. I don't serve man. So even he's pleading to the Most High, like, I did not bow to this devil out of any pride or contempt. I just did it because I only serve you. Okay? Right, come on.
For I could have been content with goodwill for the salvation of Israel to kiss the soles of his feet.
To do what?
To kiss the soles of his feet.
Right, what verse is that, Salakia?
13.
Everybody write down 1 Maccabees, the 2nd chapter. That whole chapter. What was monumental in 1 Maccabees, the 2nd chapter? Remember the Maccabees' father, Matthias? Remember they tried to tell Matthias to come and sacrifice because he was an honorable man? And Matthias said, nah, I can't do that, man. I can't do that. So Haman is saying the same thing here. Remember they told Matthias, you'll be top and we'll reward you and you'll be, But Mordecai saying the same thing. I can't do that, man. I love my people. I can't sell out like that. No matter how much money, position, whatever. So it's the same thing. So the editions of Esther, chapter 13, verse 9.
8 through 13.
No, I want just that last verse you just read.
13.
Yeah, 13 read the whole 2nd Maccabees, the 1st Maccabees, the 2nd chapter with that story of Matthias. Okay? Right, go ahead.
But I did this, that I might not prefer the glory of man.
He said, listen, I did this not to prefer the glory of man. Go ahead.
Above the glory of God.
Go ahead.
Neither will I worship any but thee.
Go ahead, go ahead.
God. Neither will I do it in pride.
Right. And when you check it out, Mordecai is just he's pleading to the Most High about this devil. He said, listen, I didn't do that out of no kind of pride or nothing like that. I just serve you, Most High. Okay? He could have been like, Lord, he's the devil, he's evil. That's why I didn't bow down to him, Most High. But he's still being humble towards this Edomite, this devil. Okay? Right, go ahead.
And now, O Lord, God and King, spare thy people, for their eyes are upon us to bring us to naught. Yea, they desire to destroy the inheritance that have been thine from the beginning.
Right, they wanted to purge us back then. Come on.
Despise not the portion which thou hast delivered out of Egypt for thine own self.
Right, and we always refer back to Egypt, which was one of our greatest deliverances in history. Right, the only one going to be greater when we get up out of here. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Right, go ahead.
Hear my prayer, and be merciful unto thine inheritance. Turn our sorrow into joy, that we may live, O Lord, and praise thy name, and destroy not the mouths of them that praise thee, O Lord.
Go ahead.
All Israel in like manner cried most earnestly unto the Lord, because their death was before their eyes.
Right, like I said, we could say that prayer now, because they trying to accuse us of anti-Semitism. And then that's going to lead to something else, and it's going to lead to something else, and, oh, we got to get rid of these Israelites. Then, oh, we got to lock them up. Oh, then we got to exterminate them because they're a threat. Same thing. Same thing going to come back in these last days. We ain't seen nothing yet, right? The Most High going to turn this thing up. These words, all this teaching and everything we've been doing is about to play out. Okay? So you better believe in what you're in. You better believe in what you've been teaching out there. You better believe in what you're reading, because it's about to manifest on a high level. Okay? Right, chapter 14.
Chapter 14. Queen Esther, also being in fear of death, resorted unto the Lord, and laid away her glorious apparel, and put on the garments of anguish and mourning. And instead of precious ointments, she covered her head with ashes and dung, and she humbled her body greatly, and all the places of her joy she filled with her torn hair.
Good.
And she prayed unto the Lord God of Israel, saying, O Lord my God, thou only art our King. Help me, desolate woman, which have no helper but thee. For my danger is in mine hand. From my youth up I have heard in the tribe of my family that thou, O Lord, tookest Israel from among all people, and our fathers from all the predecessors, from a perpetual inheritance, and thou hast performed whatsoever thou didst promise them.
Right, so basically she's saying, out of all the nations of people, you chose Israel. You chose us out of all the nations. Come on.
And now we have sinned before thee. Therefore hast thou given us into the hands of our enemies.
Right, see, a lot of our ancestors also that were humble, they would acknowledge that we're going through this because we sinned. This is a punishment because we sinned. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Because we worship their gods. O Lord, thou art righteous.
Come on.
Nevertheless,
and she said, look at that. She said, you're righteous for whooping our behind. God, you right, Lord, for giving us that tough love. Right, come on.
Nevertheless, it satisfied them not that we are in bitter captivity, but they have stricken hands with their idols.
Good.
That they will abolish the thing that thou with thy mouth hast ordained, and destroy thy inheritance, and stop the mouth of them that praise thee, and quench the glory of thy house and of thine altar.
Right, so, Mordecai and Esther they just pleading to the Most High, They laying it down on the Most High for him to deliver. And they giving a testimony of everything, his greatness, the hatred of the enemy, and, Lord, deliver us. Go ahead.
And open the mouths of the heathens to set forth the praises of their idols, and to magnify a fleshly king forever.
Go ahead.
O Lord, give not thy scepter unto them that be nothing, and let them not laugh at our fall, but turn their devices upon themselves, and make him an example that hath begun this against us.
Right, see, Esther said these nations are nothing, man. Go ahead.
Remember, O Lord, make thyself known in time of our affliction, and give me boldness, O King of the nations and Lord of all power.
Go ahead.
Give me eloquent speech in my mouth before the lion. Turn his heart to hate him that fighteth against us, that there may be an end of him and of all that are like-minded to him.
Right, so Esther is basically saying, turn it around and let it be an end to them, which is, what's going to happen, of course, later in the story. Go ahead.
But deliver us with thine hand, and help me that am desolate, which have no other helper but thee.
Go ahead.
Thou knowest all things, O Lord. Thou knowest that I hate the glory of the unrighteous, and abhor the bed of the uncircumcised.
Right, so Esther said, look, I don't like this position I'm in, but I know you brought me here because I have to be used to deliver my people. Go ahead.
And of all the heathen, thou knowest my necessity, for I abhor the sign of my estate, my high estate, which is upon my head in the days wherein I show myself, and that I abhor it as mistress rag, and that I wear it not when I am private by myself.
Right, she said, I hate the disgusting position I'm in under this heathen, but I know you put me here, Lord, because I gotta be used to deliver my people, so you can show your power. Go ahead.
And that thine handmaid have not eaten at Haman's table, and that I have not greatly esteemed the king's feast, nor drunk the wine of the drink offerings. Neither had thy handmaid any joy since the day that I was brought hither to the present, but in thee, O Lord God of Abraham, O thou mighty God above all, hear the voice of the forlorn, and deliver us out of the hands of the mischievous, and deliver me out of my fear.
Right, so she basically pleading to the Most High. All right, look up the word forlorn. All right, she said, O thou mighty power Yahweh above all, hear the voice of the forlorn. Look up the word forlorn. All right, forlorn, Salakia. F-U-R-L-O-R-N. Or is that I-N?
F-O-R-L-O-R-N.
Yeah, F-O-R-L-O-R-N. Look that up. And, Jamie, you can pick up in chapter 15.
Pitifully sad and abandoned or lonely.
Right, forlorn. So the Lord, she said, O thou mighty power, Yahweh above all, hear the voice of the pitifully sad and what?
And abandoned or lonely.
And abandoned or lonely, and deliver us out of the hands of the mischievous, and deliver me out of my fear. Right? Read 15 and 1. Whoever. You got it, Kern.
Esther chapter 15. And upon the third day, when she had ended her prayers, she laid away her mourning garments and put on her glorious apparel.
Right, because remember, they were fasting and praying for 3 days, pursuant to Esther 4:17. Come on. So, Salakia, chapter 15 and 1 can go with Esther 4:17 in the Bible. Because it says, and upon the third day, because remember, they were praying and fasting for 3 days. Go ahead. Esther 15 and 2 now.
And being gloriously adorned after she had called upon God, who is the beholder and savior of all things, she took 2 maids with her. And upon the one she leaned, as carrying herself daintily, and the others followed, bearing up her train. And she was ready through the perfection of her beauty.
But that doesn't mean she was red or white. She was just beautiful looking, robust, rosy. There's other synonyms for the word ruddy, not white or red. Right? Go ahead.
And her countenance was cheerful and very amiable.
Go ahead.
But her heart was in anguish for fear.
Right, because she was nervous. She said, I'm gonna get myself off fly to go before the king, but I wasn't summoned, so but I got to do this to try to deliver my nation. Go ahead.
Then having passed through all the doors, she stood before the king, who sat upon his royal throne, and was clothed with all his robes of majesty, all glittering with gold and precious stones, and he was very dreadful. Then lifting up his countenance that shone with majesty, he looked very fiercely upon her. And the queen fell down, and was pale, and fainted, and bowed herself upon the head of the maid that went before her.
Right, she's going before the king, royalty, man. Right, he was so royal and powerful and on his throne, it was just hard for her to behold him. Right, not like the movie 300, right? They had the man like in a diaper and no shirt on. Leonidas said, you must be Xerxes, right? They had the man looking wild in that movie, man. Right? What? Not effeminate, yeah. Right? Go ahead.
Then God changed the spirit of the king into mildness, who's in a fear leaped from his throne and took her in his arms, till she came to herself again and comforted her with loving words and said unto her, Esther, what is the matter? Am I thy brother? Be of good cheer. Thou shalt not die, though our commandment be general. Come near. And so he...
Salakia, what verse you in?
Verse 11.
Verse 11, Karen. Go ahead.
And so he held up his golden scepter and laid it upon her neck.
Right, so he held up the scepter, meaning she was able to come before him. Right, go ahead.
And embraced her and said, Speak unto me. Then said she unto him, I saw thee, my Lord, as an angel of God, and my heart was troubled for fear of thy majesty.
Right, she said you was an angel of God. Meaning what? A messenger. Karen? The word angel also means messenger. So she was saying, listen, even you, a Persian king, can be used as a vessel and an angel and a messenger of the Most High. Okay? Right, go ahead.
For wonderful art thou, Lord, and thy...
Most High ain't dealing with these heathens, brother. Most High deal with whoever he want to use. Okay? Right? You see the Most High deal with the heathen to a certain degree, and then your spirit short circuit. That don't mean they can be saved or they get the same as Israel. It's just the Most High use whoever for his purpose. Okay? Right, come on.
For wonderful art thou, Lord, and thy countenance is full of grace. And as she was speaking, she fell down for faintness. Then the king was troubled, and all his servants comforted her.
Right, that's it on that. Go to chapter 5 and 1 in the Bible now. All right, so everybody with us? Khan? Y'all keeping up? Y'all see how the additions jump back and forth? Khan? So this is the order you got to read the story in, because if you don't, you'll get thrown off. Khan? All right, go to chapter 5, verse 1.
The book of Esther, chapter 5, verse 1 in the KJV.
And we just give you the basic history. There's a lot of, you can go deep into the story. There's a lot of different levels to this whole story of Esther. Khan? But we just get the basic understanding. Read, King.
Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against the gate of the house.
Right, so it's kind of reiterating what, we already read in chapter 15. Come on.
And it was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther, and what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom. And Esther answered, If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him. Then the king said, Cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther hath said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition, and it shall be granted thee? And what is thy request, even to the half of the kingdom, it shall be performed. Then answered Esther and said, My petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king hath said. Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up, nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself, and when he came home, he sent and called for his friends and Zeresh his wife. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king. Haman said, moreover, Yet Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared, but myself. And tomorrow am I invited unto her also with the king. Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate.
You see that, man? You see the pride of this devil? He said, I got servants. I got my wife. I'm second in command under the king. I got all this. But this guy Mordecai won't bow down to me. That's how Esau is now, man. He got the whole world, but he can't control Israel. What is it about these Negroes, man?
Right.
What is, you got the whole world, what are you worried about us? Like they gentrify our neighborhoods. You got the planet Earth. You got trillions of dollars. Why you gotta steal my little hood? You can go build a whole nother country somewhere. But they said we don't want no Negro. I was watching. They got a TV one of them networks. They got a series called Sins of the City, and they go city by city, and you kind of see the same dynamic. Whenever we move into somewhere and we start getting jobs and getting little houses and businesses, Esau got jealous and came and took it over. Like, we can't have that. You got the planet. You got the planet. So that's how you know it's Esau. It's the same spirit. You got all this, but you worried about little old Mordecai, a little slave Jew. You worried about him because that's that ego of Esau, man. Same spirit. That's how we know we in the truth, man. Because everything, you know what I'm saying, is the same thing. Ecclesiastes 3, that which have been, right, is now, I'm paraphrasing, right? And there's nothing new under the sun. Same spirit, man, same thing. He said, all this avail me nothing because I got to witness this damn Mordecai. Okay? Same spirit now. Esau got the planet Earth, but he wants your little South Central. Right? He wants your little Long Beach. He wants your little LA. He wants your little hood, but he got the whole world.
Right.
Esau, what you doing over here? Go build you an island somewhere. Maybe go buy an island somewhere. Go build a country, man. You want our little hood. Because what? Negroes got a little job, little apartment, little house. That's what happened when Hurricane Katrina. When Hurricane Katrina, they blew up the levees and flooded the lower Ninth Ward, because they said even though the lower Ninth Ward, it had a lot of poverty and crime, about 80 to 90% of the Negroes there owned their homes. Esau was jealous of that. Right. Esau was jealous of that. Just because it's already a crime-ridden bad neighborhood, but you mad because most of the Negroes there own their home. So I'm going to flood them out so they don't own no homes now. That's the same spirit we're reading about with Hammond right here. Okay? Read it again. Yet availeth. Yet all this availeth.
Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate.
Now this nigga up here with the king. He up here in my position now. You got everything. You already second in command. He mad just at the prayer. That's how Esau is today too. Esau's mad at our presence. Right? Or the Negroes is here. Just because, how did he get here? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, sometimes it's on such a minute level. You can see it like on a plane or something. Sometimes Esau look at you like, hey, nigga, how are you able to travel? You know what I'm saying? I remember Priest Kahan, right? Priest Kahan he used to work for the airline and gave me a buddy pass. You know what a buddy pass is? Like a gamble if you get on the train. I mean, on the plane. But sometimes somebody will cancel, you'll get in first class or something. So I got in first class with the buddy pass. So I'm up there, give me another wine, you know what I'm saying? Esau turned to me and said, hey, you were lucky to get up here. So he said, listen, Negro, you too broke to afford first class. I know somebody had to give you a buddy pass to get up here. That's how much they don't want to see us with nothing. Right? Yeah, you damn right. You know what I'm saying? I ain't lucky. I got, my brothers looked out for me. I said, look at this devil. I just laughed because I knew what he was saying. I could have rebuked him, checked him, but I was having fun on the plane. I said, look at this devil, man. I heard what he said. Yeah, you were lucky to get in first class. Right? So it's the same spirit. Esau don't want to see you with nothing. He said, look at, you second in command under Xerxes. You mad just because Mordecai's sitting there. Right? But that's how this devil is, man. Okay? Right? He said, all that means nothing as long as I see this Negro sitting here. Right? That's how much hatred Esau got for us, man. So that's a dangerous thing. That's a dangerous thing. You got all this, but you worried about my little corner I got over here. You don't even want to see me happy with that. Esau don't want to see you with a 2-bedroom apartment. Happy with a 2-bedroom. Okay, I can pay my bills. I got 2-bedroom. He don't want you to have that. Right, I'm going to gentrify you out of that neighborhood. Yeah, man. So this devil hate us, man. You know what I'm saying? It's from the womb, from Esau and Jacob. Read on.
Then said Zeresh his wife and all his friends unto him, let a galleus be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king.
I think 50 cubits is like 75 feet in the air. Right? Go ahead.
And tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be hanged thereon.
Oh, there go that lynching spirit. Here go Esau with that. Right? That lynching spirit. Come on.
Then go
what is it? Order number 666 in Missouri. Yeah. Bring back lynchings. Bring back hangings. Good.
That Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet, and the thing pleaseth Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
Right. So we're going to end right there as far as the story. Tomorrow we will go live with chapters 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and the rest of the chapter 8 through 12 and chapter 16 in the Apocrypha. Kind? Because it's a long story. We did half tonight. It's 10 chapters, so we did half tonight, and I'll go live with the other half tomorrow. Kind? But go from there real quick to go to Esther 9 and 20. Go to Esther 9 and 20. Let's read about the celebration real quick, just to put that vibration out. All right, go to Esther 9. Yeah, 9 and 20. Just read a few verses just to put the celebration part out. Go ahead.
Esther chapter 9, verse 20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the province of the king Artaxerxes, both nigh and far.
So we know eventually the decree, well, according to Persian law, you couldn't, once a decree was written, it had to be followed. So in order to negate that decree, you had to write another decree. So another decree was written that Israel can defend ourselves against our enemy and destroy all our enemies. And eventually that's what happened. It got turned around, and we celebrated the 12th month of Adar, the 14th and the 15th day. Go ahead. 21.
To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly.
Right, so we keep the 14th and the 15th, which is today, March 4th, and tomorrow, March 5th, according to the new moon that we had in February. Right, go ahead.
As the days where the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy.
Right, the decree got turned around that we can destroy and kill our enemies that want to destroy and kill us. Go ahead.
And from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor.
Right, so you had to give up, Christmas or whatever. This is your time where you can give gifts. We got a whole table full of gifts over there. Okay? Right, so if you want a replacement, Israel, the Most High gave us a replacement. Okay? Right, go ahead.
And the Jews undertook to
and you can go out and give to the poor. Some years brothers will get together, make sandwiches or non-perishables, because some of the cities, you can't give perishable food to the people, the homeless. So you got to give out non-perishables, toiletries, and brothers will go and give out to the poor. Okay? So this is what we did for our feast days. Good. For our Purim. Good.
And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them, because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews.
Right, it keeps reiterating he's the enemy of the Jews. Good.
Had devised against the Jews to destroy them.
Good.
And had cast pur, that is the lot, to consume them and to destroy them.
Right, hence that's where the name of the feast day comes from. Pure or par in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, or par yum, which is lots or fate or destiny, because it was, our destiny was in the hands of our enemies, but the Most High delivered us. Hence the name of the feast day, par or pure, which is lot, or par yum, which is lots, plural. Good.
But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letter that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
Right, so Esau got turned on Esau, and they was hung on the gallows. Go ahead.
Wherefore they called these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing and according to the appointed time every year.
Right, Khan. So we keep these days every year at the appointed time. Khan? Right, so go from there. Go to 2 Maccabees 15. Just real quick, last night was Feast of Nicanor. All right, so for those that were not able to gather for Feast of Nicanor, we're just going to read that real quick. Because these 2 days of, 3 days, these 2 different separate times, but it adds up to 3 days, of course, of celebration, they're related to each other. Because what? Nicanor was an Edomite, a Greek, that came against Israel and got handled, right? Haman, he came against Israel and got handled. And the Most High said, you know what? I'm going to link up all 3 of these days back to back, where times you destroyed Edomites, your enemies, at 2 different time periods under 2 different captivities, but I'm going to have y'all celebrate all 3 days back to back. Done? And Purim is before Nicanor. So during Purim, as we're going to read about tomorrow when we read the rest of the story, it was actually the 13th day of Adar when it was set up for us to be killed. So the Most High took that day that it was set up, and later on in history had Judas kill Nicanor and made that a day of celebration on the 13th month of Adar. By Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua. Okay? That's how we know the Most High mocked these heathens. Okay? Right? So read 1 Maccabees 15:25.
First Maccabees chapter 15.
I mean, second Maccabees 15:25.
Chapter 15, verse
Y'all can read verses 1 to 24. Well, the main chapters for Nicanor is 1 Maccabees 7 and 2 Maccabees 14 and 15. Well, that was last night, but you can still read them over, over the weekend. This is a 3-day celebration all the way till Monday sundown. So read 2 Maccabees 15:25.
2 Maccabees chapter 15, verse 25. Everybody have it. Say, Khan. Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with the trumpets and songs.
Right, they were singing. Hallelujah. Khan. They were singing the songs, blowing the trumpets, because they had defeated Nicanor. Right? Go ahead. And his army.
But Judas and his company encountered the enemies with invocation and prayer.
Go ahead.
So that fighting with their hands and praying unto God with their hearts,
Go ahead.
they slew no less than 35,000.
Salakia, this was as they was going to war with them. Salakia. Go ahead.
35,000 men.
Start at 27 again.
27. So that fighting with their hands and praying unto God with their hearts.
The Lord said, fighting with their hands and praying to the Most High with their minds, their hearts, their minds. Go ahead.
They slew no less than 35,000 men.
Right, they slew 35,000 men of Nicanor's. Go ahead.
For through the appearance of God, they were greatly cheered.
Right. The Spirit of the Most High was with them. Go ahead.
Now when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness.
They lay what?
Lay dead in his harness.
Salakia, start back at 25 again. I got to correct that. Salakia, start at 25 again. Salakia.
Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs.
So Nicanor's army, right? The devil's army came forth with trumpets and songs. Right? Go ahead.
But Judas and his company encountered
from
the enemies.
The walls of Montezuma to how the guys would go to the shores of Tripoli. Right? Esau with that proud spirit, chanting his chants and his songs, how he going to defeat everybody. Right? Go ahead.
But Judas
correction. I had to correct that. Verse 26.
But Judas and his company encountered the enemies with invocation and prayer.
See that they just came with pleading to the Most High and prayer. They were humble. Right? Esau was chanting and roaring. We're going to kill him. Right? Go ahead.
So that the fighting with their hands and praying unto God with their hearts.
Right. Fighting with their hands and praying to the Most High with their minds. Go ahead.
They slew no less than 35,000 men.
Go ahead.
For through the appearance of God, they were greatly cheered.
Go ahead.
Now when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness.
Right, because they killed off his men and killed him. Go ahead.
Then they made a great shout and a noise, praising the Almighty in their own language.
Right, that's what I was jumping the gun. What me gun? They was praising the Most High in their own language, the Hebrew tongue. Right? Hallelujah. Right? Go ahead.
And Judas, who was ever the chief defender of the citizens, both in body and mind.
Because remember, Matthias told Judas to take over after he died. He said, you've been a man of war from your youth. Right? Go ahead.
Who continued his love toward his countrymen.
Toward his countrymen, his own people. Right? That's racist. You're teaching racism. That's what it says in the Bible. Love my own race. Go ahead.
All his life, commanded to strike off Nicanor's head.
He said, listen, strike off Nicanor's head. Oh, what kind of God tells you to cut off a man's head? The God of Israel. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. God? Right, go ahead.
And his hand with his shoulder
Because when you read early in the story, he stretched forth that same hand and said he's going to make Jerusalem a current burial place of the Jews. So the Lord said, with that same hand you stretch forth, I'm going to cut it off at the arm. Right? Go ahead.
And bring them to Jerusalem. So when he was there and had called them of his nation together and set the priests before the altar, he sent for them that were of the tower.
Go ahead.
And showed them vile Nicanor's head.
Right, showed them vile, despicable, disgusting Nicanor's head. That's what the word vile means. Go ahead.
And the hand of that blasphemer.
And the hand of that blasphemer, that right arm, go ahead.
Which with proud brags he had stretched out against the holy temple of the Almighty.
Because he pointed, he said, I'm going to make this a common burial place of the Jews. Go ahead.
And when he had cut out the tongue of that ungodly Nicanor.
Right, cut his tongue out because he kept running his mouth. Go ahead.
He commanded that they should give it by pieces unto the fowls and hang up the reward of his madness before the temple.
Right, it said, feed it to the fowls, man. Feed his tongue to the fowls. Kind?
So every man prays toward the heaven the glorious Lord, saying, blessed be he that keep his own place undefiled. He hanged also Nicanor's head upon the tower, an evident and manifest sign unto all of the help of the Lord.
Right, so he hung Nicanor's head on the tower. Right, just like well, in the movie Rosewood, remember they had some of the heads and body parts of the Negroes that they were killing. They had them like up on stakes, and you know they were cutting their ears off, and you know what I'm saying. So we did the same thing to them. Go ahead.
And they ordained all with a common decree, in no case to let that day pass without solemnity, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the Syrian tongue, is called Adar, the day before Mordecai's day.
So what's Mordecai's day? Every hand should be up for that. Mordecai's day. Bring it out, Ak. Purim, Khan. Go to Esther 10:1 in the Bible. Esther 10:1-3 with 2 Maccabees 15 and 36. Mordecai's day is also known as Purim. Oh, you gotta wrap it up. Straight.
Esther 10:1.
It's the book of Esther, chapter 10, verse 1. And the king Artaxerxes laid a tribute upon the land and upon the isles of the sea, and all the acts of his powers and of his might, and the declaration of the greatness of Mordecai, whereunto the king advanced him. And are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia?
Right. You know, these are written in the records of the Persians and the Medes. You know, Ahasuerus' work and the story of Esther and Mordecai. You know, some of the scholars try to say the story's made up and is, you know, and Esau just don't want to admit the history that they got defeated and the Most High gave us a day of celebration. But when you read deeply in Purim, they will try to tell you that the story really didn't exist. But then they'll turn back around and say Mordecai wrote the story. So which one is it? You know what I'm saying? If Mordecai wrote the story, then that means he exists. But Esau always got to throw a bone in there. But, you know, when you read about Purim, they'll try to tell you, you know, that, it possibly could have been a made-up story so that the Jewish people can feel encouraged. There's some nonsense, man. But then they'll turn around and say, well, Mordecai wrote the story of Esther. Well, which one is it? If Mordecai wrote the story, then you're admitting that he existed. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Whereunto the king advanced them. And they not written in the books of the Chronicles of the kings of Media and Per. For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Artaxerxes, and great among the Jews.
So Mordecai took Haman's position after Haman and his 10 sons was hung, and he became second in command in Persia, right? Go ahead.
And accepted of the multitude of his brethren.
Of his brethren. There's nothing wrong with being for your own people. Right? Remember, y'all seen the last interview with Dr. Umar on the Breakfast Club? Yeah. Right? He said every people, even Charlemagne agreed with him. And Charlemagne could be a coon sometime. You know what I'm saying? But even Charlemagne was like, yo, you right about that. He said it's never a problem when other people say that they for their own people. But when we say it, we're racist, we're divisive, But he said every nation could say that they for their own people, and it's not a problem. But the minute we say it, it's a problem. Right, Kyle? Right, read verse 3 again.
For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Artaxerxes.
So he elevated to second in command under Xerxes. Go ahead.
And great among the Jews.
And they was honored. They honored him amongst his, Israel honored him. Go ahead.
And accepted of the multitude of his brethren.
Of his brethren. See, he was under the Persian king, but he was still for his people. All right, go ahead.
Seeking the wealth of his people.
Of who?
His people.
No, of everybody.
His people.
But we got to include all people now. Go ahead.
And
of his people. Go ahead.
And speaking peace to all his seed.
Come on, that's racist right there. He's for his own race. Okay? He sought the peace of his seed. So what's wrong with that? Right? Like my brother Umar said on the Breakfast Club. Why is it when we say we want to be for our own people, it's a problem? Even though he's on that African tip. But you know what he means. You know what I'm saying? Jake. He's for Jake. But no, it's a problem when we do it. But it's right here in the Bible. You Christians, you say you love the Lord. So well, let's read the book of Esther. Oh, no. That's the Old Testament now. No. We got to go to the new covenant of Christ. My Christ told us you did the God of the Old Testament is a bloody God. He mean. That's a mean, bloody God. We serving a new God in the New Testament. Oh, we ain't reading no Esther's now. Give me Paul. Give me some of that Paul letters. And you don't understand Paul. Right? So, right here in 10 and 3 is exalting Mordecai. So that's why the Purim also became known as Mordecai's Day. Okay? Go back to 2 Maccabees 15 and 36, yeah. Everybody see that? So that's why we and other brothers probably do it, but over the years, H.O.I, when we would celebrate, in the history, it's called the destruction of Nicanor. But we call it Judas Maccabees Day because Judas the one that killed him and cut off his damn head and hung it up. And Judas was great amongst his people, just like Mordecai's Day was a nickname for Purim. So the nickname for Day of Destruction, we also call it Day of Judas Maccabees. Okay? Right, go ahead.
2 Maccabees 15:36. And they ordained all with a common decree in no case to let that day pass without solemnity, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, which in the Syrian tongue is called Adar, the day before Mordecai's Day.
The day before Mordecai's Day. So Purim was also known amongst the people. It was also called Mordecai's Day. Just like Day of Nicanor's destruction, we also call it Judas Maccabees Day. Read on.
Thus went it.
And we're not worshiping Mordecai or Judas Maccabees. Kind of don't get simple. Right? It's just remembering them for that day, for what they did. Okay? Go ahead.
Thus went it with Nicanor. And from that time forth, the Hebrews had the city in their power. And here will I make an end.
Go ahead.
And if I have done well, and as it is fitting the story, it is that which I desire. But if I slenderly and meanly, it is that which I could attain unto.
Right, he wrote the story according to the best of his ability of what history he had. But there's a lot of stuff left out, yes. It tells you a lot of the war campaigns of Judas Maccabees ain't even written in here. Because there were many. So he wrote according. See, people will use that and say, well, that ain't the complete Bible. No, he just saying, listen, I wrote the record according to the history that I had. Okay? Right, go ahead.
For as it is hurtful to drink wine or water alone, and as wine mingled with water is pleasant, and delighteth the taste, even so speech finely framed delighteth the ears of them that read the story. And here shall be an end.
Right, meaning that he tried to write the story, with a good, literally styled, good story, and, put it together to the best of, he, tried to word it as good as he could. Okay? So it can be pleasant to the reader. The story can be pleasant to the reader. He was careful with the wording. Okay? All right, so that's it on that. Any questions or comments? Okay? Right?
I have one.
Yeah, Howard, I got a question.
Why is it that, well, I guess it is a question. Why is it that Amalekites use this day as a reason to dress up in costumes?
Because they homos, man.
Well, I know
homos.
that, but I'm just saying, what connection is it to the reality of the story?
None.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Well, no. For me, I asked Amalek that personally myself. Right. They said because it's a festive time. And it's a time of party and celebration, so they dress up in. But I said, no, y'all trying to turn Purim into Halloween.
Exactly.
Because there's no connection. Exactly. But now, when you get the sense of the story, it is a festive time. Right? But it don't say, well, the wise thing would be to dress up in our garments. Right. Not no costumes. Right. But a lot of Amalek actually dress up in drag for Purim. Yeah, they dress in drag, yeah. Especially a lot of the men. A lot of the men dress up, they put on skirts and dresses and yeah. A lot of the Israeli army, they be on patrol in skirts and dresses.
That's wild.
And they'll say, well, it's Purim, we're celebrating. Yeah. A lot of them are dressed in drag for Purim. Yeah. Because they're Sodomites by name. They're still Edomites. They're so-called Jews, but they still Esau. Right? Yeah.
When I was looking for like signs to put over my door for Purim, so I was looking at Purim, like before, all of it is like Mardi Gras things.
Right, exactly, right.
I was like, what the heck? So I found something and just like cut off the Mardi Gras part.
And they say that's because it's a festive time. Right. That's what they say. You know what I'm saying? It's a festive time, and but if it's festive, just put on your garment.
I couldn't see the connection.
Yeah, just put on your garments. Right. And if that's the case, every feast day technically is a festive time. Right. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they got a lot of traditions of men, and it just man. A lot of that stuff was I see you, sis. I'm sorry. A lot of that stuff was added throughout years of just Amalek just putting different stuff to just make it more commercial. Right. That's what I'm sorry, sis. Go ahead.
Why did they have it all switch around? Why do they force men to have skirts instead of women to have skirts?
Say it again. You
know how they have women, they push women to wear pants more than skirts? Mm-hmm. Why do they have that? Are they just trying to switch the whole
Yeah, they trying to do gender reversal. Because the so-called white man want to do that. Number one, for population control. Right. Because the more a woman is like a man, she don't want to have babies. Yeah. The more a man is like a woman, he's not going to want to be with a woman to make babies. So a lot of it is deeply psychological. A lot of that they do for population control, because they want to role reverse the gender to destroy the household and take down the birth rates and everything. Because an effeminate man is not going to be getting women pregnant, and a manly woman is not going to be having babies. So it's like a gender role reversal. This stuff goes deeper than the surface. A lot of it is the Illuminati and the CIA and the think tanks, and they come up with these things on how to destroy society more. But a lot of it is population control, because they really want to take down the population of the earth. So they do that through the homosexuality and the gender and the role reversals. They had a website years ago. I don't know if it's still around. It was I think a guy by the name of Jeff Rentz. And he said it was called Save the Males, SaveTheMales.com or SaveTheMales.org or something like that. And he would give you all these different conspiracy government programs of how they just trying to destroy masculinity and men. Mm-hmm. That's why he called the website Save the Males. Because he was like, it's just a massive wave of trying to destroy masculinity and men on the earth. Yeah, so that's what they do a lot of. It's deeper than the surface. You might think it's just an increase of homosexuality and lesbianism, but is a lot of it is psychological things and think tanks and the Illuminati and the CIA. They just working on how to destroy people more. That's why henceforth Zaya Wade. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's all set up, man. And Gabrielle Union and Dwayne, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. But that's all set up to show young black men that you could turn into a girl. Now, who's Zaya Wade going to get pregnant? Right? Or he going to try to get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Right? So that's one of the main reasons why they do it, sis, when you go deeper. But women should be women and men should be men. Right? That's why you look on a bathroom, the woman's bathroom has a skirt on and the man's bathroom has pants. They're showing you it's two different things, the masculine and the feminine. Okay? And any real man wants a feminine woman, and any real woman wants a masculine man. Okay? And there's something wrong with you. A woman likes a man to be strong, masculine, take charge, lead me. You know what I'm saying? A man likes a woman to be feminine, dainty, submissive, loving, nurturing. Okay? When you're in your right spirit, you want the opposite sex to be in their natural right spirit. But they just want everything all twisted up in this society. You know, so, you know, that's part of the reason why they do it, sis. You know? But in here, men be men, women be women. Okay? Right? All that, man. Nobody want no rough woman, man. No real man want no rough woman. And no real woman want no soft, weak man. She gonna be like, man, get out of here, man. You gonna be like, man, you don't know your place, woman. You too much like a man. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So everybody gotta, you know, it's a gender war in this society. It's a major gender war by the powers that be and because of the curses. Okay? Anybody else? Any other questions or comments? So beautiful service. Come inside. Everybody repeat after me. Ashar. Paryam. Happy Purim 2023. Day one. So good to see a lot of you brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? Right? Glad you made it. Glad you sacrificed and came out to serve the Most High H.O.I. God. A few faces I ain't seen in a while. You know what I'm saying? But good to see y'all here. God. All praises. So we know it's a little late. But, you know, we're going to eat, drink, and be merry. It is a Saturday night, so y'all can hang on out for a little bit, okay? Fellowship, have a little fun, and celebrate the true feast days, okay? Come here, Shalom. All right, so we got our brothers from Watchmen from Israel and the sisters in the building, okay? All right, you know, we've been linking up a lot with Watchmen in all the different cities and states. It's just a spirit. You know, there's nothing really planned or anything, but damn near in almost every other state, you know, we linking up with Watchmen, okay? We got a good rapport with the brothers. From when I first met Naquan and Amos, I forgot what year that was. I think it was like 2014. I forget. I'm getting older, y'all. But, you know, we always doing unity camps and feasts. Ariana in Illinois, they always be with Watchmen Illinois. So the Spirit just been having us link up a lot with our fellow brothers from the fellow camps, kind. So all praise to the Most High Yahweh for that. All right. What Rick Ross say, you know, whenever we link up, they think it come from outer space. Right. So that's it on that. We're gonna pray out, eat, drink, and be merry. Everybody enjoy the Purim. Do all things in moderation. Remember. And enjoy yourself, okay? And don't leave without me getting a picture with you. Come here, Shalom. All right. Imagine what point you're Yerushalayim. Stand and face Jerusalem. All right, closing prayer. Hallelujah. 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 Yahweh. Hashem. Hamashiach. Yahushua. Barak Noah. Shalom. Wahabi Asapaya. Shema. Yasharallah. Yahweh. Alahayanawa. Yahweh. Achad. Shema. Yasharallah. Yahweh, Allah, Shema, Yasharala, Yahweh, Allah Hayana, Yahweh, Shema, Yasharala, Yahweh, Allah Hayana, Yahweh. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, power, Yahweh is one. Deuteronomy 6, verse 4, Credo of Israel. Blessed, O Most High Yahweh, by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. Please watch over all the schools, camps, congregations, brothers and sisters that are sincere in Yahweh Shai throughout the four corners of the earth. By Hashem Mashiach Yahushua throughout our money. Hallelujah. 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 Brothers, be seated. Sisters, come up, get anointed. We ask for silence, brothers. We still in prayer mode. Everybody be able to greet soon. Come on up, sisters. Don't act like y'all don't know what's going on. When y'all get your oil, form a line. Oh, I like this one. Little dab, but do you? No, I got you, sister. Come on, sister. Skipping people.
Thank you.
Stretch. And the water. All right, that's all our sisters. All right, okay. So form a line, sisters. Bring it in a little bit. So we're going to do the anointing prayer, Numbers 6, 22 to 27. This is basically a prayer for strength, things you might be going through, you know, be a better sister, mother, wife, overall woman of the Most High, daughter, anything you might be going through, personal things, health, financial problems, whatever. Now is the time to meditate. Ask the Most High to fix those things for you. Okay? We're going to do the anointing prayer in the Hebrew, me, Kazakh, and German. And as we finish, you go right to left, say your name 3 times. We repeat it, and you receive your anointing. Kazakh and German, repeat after me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yabaraki Yahweh, Vayashamaka, Ya'a Yahweh, Punyawa, Ayaka, Vayakanka, Yasha Yahweh, Punyawa, Ayaka, Vayashamnaka, Shalom, Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Obukushaw, Shemai, Nawa, Aita, Shalak, Maikala, Walahayim, La, Shema'el, Barak, Rapar, Izar, Magun, Kazak, Hatazayal, Kwawa, Karima, Danielle, Ahaba, Elijah, Sarai, Zakara, Zara, Zanai, Zamora, Taylor, Sama, Ahabia, Kaylin, Kalen, Cole, Akim, Cole, Akwafim, Cole, Bunyam, Yasha'ala, Bahashim, Hamashiach, Yahawashai, Tawada, Tamyad, Iwalam, Amen. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Brothers, come up, get anointed. Sisters, take your seats. Be silent also, please. We're still in prayer mode. Hallelujah. 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 Oh, hallelujah. 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 Oh, my bad. Hallelujah. Come on, little man, get up in there. Can't let me forget you. Hallelujah. Yeah. All right, Akim. Same thing, anointing prayer. Number 6, 22 to 27. A lot going on in the nation, man. So, you know, us men, we got to gird up our loins, okay? You know, it's time to, you know, meditate to the Most High, ask Him to make you a better brother, father, servant of the Most High, son, man, husband, all around. Anything you might be going through, anything you need help with in the spirit, now is the time to meditate on it. You know, receive your anointing. Okay? All right. We'll say the prayer. We go from right to left, from a Shalimar and go around. Say your name 3 times and we repeat it. Okay? Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Kazak, jam and repeat after me. Yabareki Yahweh, Wayashamaka, Ya'al Yahweh, Pun Yahweh, Al Yakar, Wayakhanka, Yasha'al Yahweh, Pun Yahweh, Al Yakar, Wayashamlaka, Shalom, Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Wabakushab, Shemai, Nawa, Aita, Shalak, Maikala, Walahayim, La, Shema'ayo, Barak, Rapah, Izar, Magun, Kazak, Hataziyah, Kwawa, Shalimar, Zion, Yagai, Natash, Yasharala, Araya, Yakin, Yahawada, Nazariah, Joels, Tariq, Rob Judah, Jamin, Kazak, Zabach,
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 Ko,
Ko,
Akim,
Akim,
Ko,
Ko,
Akwafim,
Akwafim,
Ko,
Ko,
Bunyam,
Bunyam,
Yasha'ala,
Yasha'ala,
Bahashim,
Bahashim,
Hamashiach,
Hamashiach,
Yahawashi,
Yahawashi,
the water,
the water,
Yad,
Amen,
Awulam,
Amen.
Hallelujah,
Hallelujah,
Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Amen, Shalom.
Amen, Shalom.
Pray your Yerushalayim again. Pray for the food and the drink. Sister, stand. Face the east. Pray for the food and the drink. Hallelujah.
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 Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hashem.
Hashem.
Mashiach.
Mashiach.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Babakashah. Barak.
Barak.
Nawa.
Nawa.
Kad.
Kad.
Paryam.
Paryam.
Babakashah.
Babakashah.
Barak.
Barak.
Nawa.
Nawa.
Ram.
Ram.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Babakashah.
Babakashah.
Hashem.
Hashem.
Mashiach.
Mashiach.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
The water.
The water.
Yad.
Yad.
Awulam.
Awulam.
Hallelujah.
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 Blessed O Most High Yahweh, Bashim Mashiach Yahushua. Please bless the food and the drink that we're about to receive. Bless our Purim, Kag Payam, our Purim feast. Lord, let all things be done in moderation. We thank you, Lord, for nourishing first and foremost our mind and spirit and nourishing our flesh. And we ask you to let us enjoy our meal, our Purim meal, eat, drink, and be merry, and celebrate your great feast day. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua, the water, the yad, Awulam. Amen. Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Brothers turn to the sisters, sisters turn to us brothers. We're going to salute each other. Follow me, repeat after me. Akim Yasha'Allah, brothers of Israel, salute our sisters of Israel. Amajim. Barak.
Barak.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hashem.
Hashem.
Mashiach.
Mashiach.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Shematan.
Shematan.
Sisters Yahweh. Hashem. Mashiach. Yahushua. Shematan. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Sisters be seated. Brothers turn. Make a little circle right here. Brothers of Israel, salute each other. Mighty salute for the Feast of Purim. Amajim, y'all don't have to repeat. Amajim means to stand. Barak means to smite your chest. Get ready to bless your brother. Khan? Hallelujah. Amajim. Barak. Yahweh Shem El Shabbat. Y'all do it after me. Y'all do it. That's what threw y'all off. Y'all do it after me. Right? Majim. Salakia. Majim. Barak. Yahweh Shem El Shabbat.
Yahweh Shem El Shabbat.
Hum Yishalom. Hum Yishalom. Hum Yishalom. Hallelujah. 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 Rakata Yahweh.
Rakata Yahweh.
Rakata Yahushua.
Rakata Yahushua.
Rakata Yahweh.
Rakata Yahweh.
Rakata Yahushua.
Rakata Yahushua.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Mashiach.
Mashiach.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Hum Yishalom.
Hum Yishalom.
Shalom. No camp salutes. We all won tonight. We all no camp salutes. God. All right, so everybody repeat. Ashar.
Ashar.
Payam.
Payam.
Happy Purim Day 1, 2023. Come in. Eat, drink, and be merry. Shalom. I better have a lot of gifts over there now. My gift to y'all is the service, the word. Come in, Shalom.
Brother, is that P-A-R-U-M? Purim, P-A-R-U-M?
No, there's no U. P-A-R-Y-A-M. Yeah. I need to get a board, but I don't like to talk.
P-A-R.
P-A-R-Y-A-M. Right. Happy Purim 2023, day 1. Hope y'all enjoyed the service. If y'all learned one thing tonight, we've done our job. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Shalom. Ashar Payam. Come here, Shalom.